Hi everyone, hello, good morning. My name is Roberto Antunes and I'm the Executive Director of Msft, the Tourism Innovation Center in Portugal. And I would like to, in the next half an hour, to spend a bit of time with you, letting you know how do we follow through the plans on sustainability when it comes to innovation in tourism. I have a small presentation here to share with you. Just asking for permission. So Planetiers or Carla, if you can help, I would like to share a presentation. So to conduct this, this half an hour in a more productive way. So please allow me to share my screen. So while the team is sorting out and enabling me to share my screen, just would like to let you know a little bit more about who Msft is. So the Tourism Innovation Center is a private right and non-profit organization that it was put together in February 2019 in order to pivot innovation within the current ecosystem in a way that we spend more resources, more time, and with the existing elements of this ecosystem, we think more through what will be the most relevant ways of making our tourism competitive. So it's kind of a way of accelerating the future, but by making it more present in our agendas, in our pilotings, in our innovation processes. Let me see if I can share my screen now. No. So team, Planeteers team, please help me. Otherwise, I'll do it without any presentation. It's also possible, but I think it's more interesting for the audience if you can see other things than my face. Hey.
Sorry, it was me.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
Okay.
Now. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. You know, I'm used to this troubleshooting things that don't work. It's not by using technology that it will always work. Huh? So
yes, it's true.
so I'm used to if in case it doesn't work, then we hunt with the cat, as we say in Portugal.
Yes.
If we don't have a dog, we hunt with the cat. It's all fine, no problem. Presentation is just nice visuals. I would tell you the story anyways without the presentation, but I think it's more interesting. So I was telling you that by February last year, we put up together what it is an association, a private right, built up by private but also public entities. And this is something very interesting. As you would probably see in other countries in the world, either an innovation tourism on the hands of the public, what would be the equivalent of Turismo to Portugal in other countries, or totally private, as you see, for example, in Israel with Innovate Israel, with a very commercial approach. And here it's kind of an ambivalent, so we have both of them. Once we put together both Turismo Portugal, so the quintessence of the knowledge of the industry, together with the privates. And interesting though, the privates are not, let's say, renowned for tourism, let's say, in its most depurated sense, but it's more of adjacent industries and sectors that are definitely fundamental for tourism to work out. So tourism at the end, in my point of view, is a bit of a compound of everything. So all the sectors do meet together in Turismo, being the clothes, the building industry, the transportation, the mobility, the digitalization. So all of them at a certain point is part of Turismo, right? So Turismo is basically once anyone, even ourselves, do benefit from an existing structure to enjoy what are more of intrinsic values and characteristics in Portugal, being the people, gastronomy, the landscapes, etc. But at the end, we use all the infrastructures to consume what would be a product such as tourism. So you can see here really big companies reference in their industries, such as mobility with Aeroportos and Via Verde, the telecommunications with NOS, digitalization with Google, Microsoft, and banks, with the mission of promoting innovation and the technology adoption throughout the value chain. And the strategy behind, given that tourism is a compound of, that's my son, is a compound of many different kind of businesses, but the majority is SMEs, or it even might be like personal companies, so even below 10 people. That's potentially the biggest representation of companies within the industry. So whatever is the plan and the activities that are put behind, it needs to be thought through under these characteristics. So most of the transition needs to be done in a way that supports and especially competences and skills which are not in the majority corporate, but in the majority they are personal. So we go through kind of an end-to-end approach. First of all, promoting the innovation culture, so opening the site, making people understanding that digitalization and technology and innovation, this is the new operational system. So without it, it's very hard, if not impossible, to companies to strive in the economy. So it's kind of inconceivable that any business doesn't hold it at a certain point and somehow some kind of technology in itself. And it's very important to open the site and make people really embrace the opportunity. Otherwise, there's a huge risk on sustainability of the businesses. Working closely within the industry with universities and training institutes. So there's an important need of spreading out and allowing the information to become much more accessible. And it's kind of the sense of the weakest, you are as strong as your weakest point. Within a chain, if one of the chain elos is weak, this is where it's going to break. So it's very important that as an industry, we work very much hard towards the capabilities and disseminating as well the understanding and the basic principles of digitalization. And that's a very important point to be worked out with the ones that develop the knowledge, such as universities, training institutes, and support the experimentation of new ideas. There's an important effort that the European Union is also making on opening up to a free zone for innovation, which means that it's actually areas for the experimentation to happen without barriers. Most of the times there is kind of struggles in order to small businesses and small ideas really to develop quickly without the support of big corporations. So what is important is that us as Nest, we are trying to find out all the ways, areas in our domain on together with corporates, so there is more chances for and space for trials. And I will be a little bit more concrete a later afterwards, so you will understand this is not just theory, and this is not just me being vocal about it, about this structure, but it's actually, there are projects and programs very specific in order to deliver them. And then at the end, to promote international cooperation, because we live in an open door world, a global economy. So regardless where the solutions comes for us to really grow fast and healthy our industry, we don't really care where does it come from. So we want to work in a network on which all the potential and the possibilities, they can be spotted out really quickly, and the adoption can be also done quickly. This is a bit of an overview of the ecosystem. So as an innovation center, what we really want is not to bring more complexity to our ways of working. So meaning that for the future, and in this current digital economy, it's not about putting more complexity and more players into the play. It's more, on the other hand, to establish networks and bridges between these dots that you find here so we can in advance think of the opportunities for the future. And the three main areas that we are focusing is on these three ones. Actually, it's the outcome of a workshop that we did within tourism. I do believe that this is true for the majority of the industries. Behind these 3 points, there's basically three people, three personas. In the first one, the seamless experience, it's the consumer, it's the tourist. At the end, what we really want is that there is a benefit, there is a satisfaction, there is an appeal that we keep on continuously building on Portugal as a destination. And this means that we have to think of the journeys, removing all of the potential barriers and the difficulties, so to make it also more focused on the appeal and on the benefit of the, let's say, of the tourism in Portugal, without any pain points. The other area is on big data, is sophisticating tourism and making it more on the likes of companies and businesses that use information as a potential way to keep on improving the offering, getting to know more and more of what is the interest of the demand. So this is one of the first and most relevant benefits of data. It's actually, data is for many people, it's kind of a scary thing. It's numbers, it's statistics, but at the end, think that this is at the end somehow a human behavior. So there is only data if there's a human action, and data and numbers are translating those actions in a way that then the computers, the artificial intelligence can find patterns, can get us information that we can use to our benefit in our businesses to really direct the offering in a way that it gets more chances of success. On the other hand, it's also the opportunity to work out bottom lines. So dematerializing parts of the operations, making it more fluid, removing the risks and the understanding as well through forecasts of the possibilities and the best way of adequating my resources in a way that I get less waste, for example. So there's important points on data and also on seamless on how it applicates or applies, apologies for my English, in the way that it applies for sustainability. And finally, the sustainability solution, that was also one of the pillars, one of the three. To me, it's kind of present throughout the other two, but on its own, it's a pillar. So sustainable solutions does really embody here the local communities. How can we make a fast-growing industry happen in a way that it's really healthy, that it doesn't fall into the potential problems that we've seen in other places such as Amsterdam or Barcelona, or even markets that are so dependent on tourism that once doesn't happen or they lose their ranking on the appeal, then they are in a big trouble. So sustainability is really thinking on how we're going to grow in a way that the local communities do really feel that there is lots of benefits on it through, of course, employment, the potential generation of new companies. And there's actually an interesting point and big development on sustainability in the current times, in opposition to the old times on which it was more like a list of demanding things that I need to do in order to comply. And nowadays it's actually a source of inspiration for business to thrive. So we see in Silicon Valley and many other places how sustainability by design as a starting point is what it's actually bringing one of the most successful or potentially biggest in success businesses that we see in the current times. So it's actually the cradle for many of the big companies in the future. And here we need to think of the local communities, think of how as well to protect the cultures, the gastronomies. This is so important for Portugal. This is what it makes us interesting in comparison to many others, because we have protected most of our behaviors and cultural aspects, and also the environment, the biosphere, etc. This is where it falls, our efforts on innovation. The trends do really put us on a position that there is big opportunities for transformative spaces in tourism. No, imagine that consumption is really changing. People are putting more value under the sustainability. So what is actually bringing a lower impact on the carbon footprint, or what could be recyclable, or what we see as well, each more and more electric cars on the streets. The investments as well on alternative and healthy sources of energy. So we saw, for example, on the TV a couple of days ago, on the pilots being done close to Viana do Castelo with this winds for winds in order to capture, which are settled in the middle of the ocean. So there is more and more of appeal, not only at economic level, but also at personal level. Each one of us is becoming more and more aware and adopting really those lifestyles that comply with the thinking on sustainability. And definitely the technology, which is the operational system, as I said, that we are in, it's going to facilitate more and more the access on new solutions that are by design thought through on sustainability, but actually on choices and having more of clarified choices on what are the impacts of the things that we choose within tourism, being hotels, gastronomy, the places, etc. So there's going to be more and more information on the impact on sustainability, on the choices that we were going to do in tourism. And the good side is actually that tourism can have a really positive impact. So regardless of the current times, and I think I will end up with the COVID times, and we all know that tourism is one, if not the most affected with this pandemic situation. But what we need, someone is, let's see. Oh, okay, so I'm being told that we need to finish a bit earlier on, so I'll move on a bit quicker. Let me manage my time. So I do have more 8 minutes. So here to mention that the tourism can actually have really a big positive impact because there is scale. It's important as it weighs a lot on the GDP, but it actually has a lot. Oh, apologies for the noises that you might hear throughout my presentation. But it's also important on the carbon emissions, on the number of meals which are provided. So if innovation is being brought through in tourism that can have a positive impact, it's kind of the reverse, and we can have really lots of benefits. And this is also preconized in the strategy that it was designed for Portugal, on which embedded in this strategy, there is also the thought of disseminating the tourism throughout the country in a way that it's actually improving people's lives and providing opportunities for work for people, upskilling as well the skills of the ones involved, but actually having positive impacts in the population, on the efficiency, on the energy, on the use of water, on the waste and residues. So this is already very, very strategic. I'll give you a couple of examples of what within our programs in Nest. In the area of capacitation and generating endorsers, meaning people that will spread the word together with us and with Planetiers, with whom we have a very close relationship. It's our program of webinars on which we've done in the past, and starting tomorrow, there's a new round, so a new series of webinars, and part of them will be dedicated for tourism and for sustainability, apologies. So to provide everyone with more content on how we can develop a more sustainable tourism. Also on the level of initiatives that come from startups, we are leveraging everything that can have an impact on sustainability through our networks. We already have in our website potentially the biggest facade on solutions for tourism, and a big part of them, they are sustainability oriented. And we make sure that in our social media, but also on bringing them to international contests to provide the Portuguese initiatives more scale and potentially internationalization. There is also the future labs. As I said, we are looking for spaces on we can more freely experiment And we have this, as you see in the picture, the tourism hotel in Setúbal, which belongs to the school of Setúbal, and this is where we have as Nest freedom to bring there what we believe that could be potential technologies with the important impact in those three areas I mentioned before. Here to mention that we are launching here on the 22nd of October, together with Aden, a prize for the most innovative solution, technological solution for water management, and the winner is going to pilot his technology in our hotel in Setúbal. So this is one of the things that we want to facilitate as Nest. And finally, or almost finally, hackathons. So to put up the energy on people together in order to develop solutions. So we are about to launch I think in December, January, an innovation program that was going to focus on technological solutions to apply in tourism and answer these three sustainability questions. First, green technology for tourism. Imagine new ways of measuring the carbon footprint of how could that open up for more new potential businesses or applications or information within tourism. Another with health and well-being tourism. How can we put up APIs or put together the offering that we have so we can make our offering, for example, in bookings, much more visible of what exists and what it is impacting sustainability in Portugal. And finally, the safe and clean tourism, so more solutions in order to, for example, disperse people in the territory, in a city, in a tourism place, in a way that it makes it more satisfactory as a visitor, but also more safe, more secure, so less potential ways of contaminations as an example. So this is just to highlight a little bit of what could be potential technologies that could be still developed that could bring potential impacts and positive impacts in tourism, but all focused on sustainability. And finally, the international network. We are willing to put up really protocols with other innovation centers or startup incubators, accelerators throughout the world in a way that we can actually share our learnings, the status of the art in Portugal, so we can appeal for them to also come and participate in our programs and get the brain that exists out there applicable to our challenges. But on the other hand, also to bring up our best-in-class solutions in a way that can have international visibility. So, guys, to end up, and I'm about, as promised, it's 2 minutes as Carla asked me to end up 5 minutes earlier, so I still have 2 minutes, to let you know that we have a really strong connection with the Planetiers team. We are putting up a protocol that will open up the collaboration and more projects to be worked out in the likes of what I've just presented. So imagine with a deeper information and more participation of the most clever people in sustainability in the world, but also bringing it up to another scale of making the Portuguese population more understanding with much more clarity on the potential of sustainability in tourism. So this is what we are looking for to work out together with Planetiers. Very happy that I am here today together with you guys to finish, as I said, a small word on COVID. So the recovery of our industry is a fundamental thing. So there must be resilience. But on the other hand, we need to think of sustainability in economical, but social and environmental as a potential way for us to come out even better than before and have a much more successful tourism in Portugal. And also, we also know that tourism, it's so important in our society and can contribute to a much better Portugal in the future. So this is what we want to work out together within the ecosystem and making sure that the future generations will be really pleased with the decisions, with the ideas that we are working today. So guys, thank you very much for inviting me to tell you a little bit more of who Nest is. and that is pretty much that. So I'm open for anyone to, if you want to get to know more about Nest, go ahead and search in our website. Otherwise, I'm also happy to get your messages through my email, roberto.antunes@inovatourism.pt. Okay, roberto.antunes@inovatourism.pt. Thank you very much.